stay over here with nobody.
Can you hear us? Yeah, you guys just let me know when you're ready to begin and I'm happy to start.
Did y'all bring a container for water?
Were we supposed to?
Kevin, I have one from Kevin too, I should have brought it. That's fine. Or what?
Facebook.
Feedback's horrible.
Well, you could have
What's that?
brought a container. She's expecting more people, apparently.
You always have empty chairs.
You have to create this sort of stuff. Oh,
It's behind.
Okay, so listen to the delay, ladies.
There's a delay,
There, since
yeah.
he's so far away, there's gonna be a 3 to 5 second delay. So give him a second to answer questions and type of thing.
We may have to turn that
Well,
down.
now I can't see Kevin. Can I sit out here?
Right.
Yes.
Buenos dias, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Hey.
Are we here?
Yeah.
Alright, I see a lot of beautiful faces there. Let's see some hands in the air if you can hear me. Yes, we're waving like we just care about some water. I love it. Welcome, guys. Good morning. My name's Kevin. I'm so excited to be talking with you guys today. I am presently in beautiful Sayulita, Mexico. And I'm grateful for Donna and Rachel setting this up. So let's, we're gonna just dive into this. I'm gonna give you guys a quick little overview, a little bit about the science of the water. And through some demonstrations, Rachel's gonna show you some visuals. And at the end, we are going to answer any questions that you guys may have. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Let me see some hands in the air if that sounds good. Yes, thank you. I usually ask people to put their things in the chat, but since we're flowing all together in this beautiful space, we're just gonna put some hands in the air. Okay, cool.
Kevin, can you do me a
I'm gonna pull
favor?
my little presentation here. Let's put on my screen share.
Kevin?
Oh, hello.
Since you're the host, can you start recording, please?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Let me do my screen share. Just start recording. Share.
So you can only have one host at a time? Correct. Because that way people aren't talking over each other or trying to display multiple. You can do multiples if you want, but it doesn't do.
Okay, let's see some hands so we can see the screen. Do you guys see the presentation? Is that up? Yes, I love it. All right, I'll do this again. Let's see some hands who are happy to be here today.
Yay.
Yes, I love all y'all. I miss you. Hope y'all are so blessed this morning. All right, I'm gonna start the recording too. That's a good. I was told you. If you got, do we have our waters with us right now? Do we each have some water?
Do we have any other?
Yes. If we don't have some water, guys, grab a little bit of water right now. And before we start, we're just gonna set an intention real quick. See, look at all of this. I love it. We're all being reminded to be hydrated. It's beautiful. Was that Victoria and Shelby I saw?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear us?
Hi, ladies.
Hi. We miss you.
Just Facebook.
Plastic cups, and I think we used them all last time.
And you have your water.
Okay, we're watered up.
You have your water.
Two good years? You want three?
Alright, I think we got everybody back in place.
Yes.
Yes, okay, beautiful. Alright, so we're gonna take our blessed water, we're gonna hold it up, we're gonna put it to our hearts. We're just going to arrive a little bit.
Why don't we see him anymore?
He's got
Close
it.
our eyes. Take some deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. For the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be present. We're going to really open ourselves up to a new channel of information. To allow the wisdom of water to flow through. Not only our minds, but our hearts. Whatever your intention is for today, for arriving here at this place with this recording, go ahead and say that in your minds, in your heart. Express gratitude for Donna and Rachel for hosting this beautiful event. Express gratitude for a beautiful community that you guys are all expanding within Newman. Just feel that vortexing of the waters in your heart, connecting to the water that you're holding. And with that gratitude, we're going to open our eyes, take a big sip, big gulp, whatever it is, enjoy the divine feminine that is in your glass.
Do you wanna be able to see him as well?
Well, should we
Oof.
want to see him?
Every time, I love that. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to start the recording.
Oh, he has a power.
Yeah, but we can see him as well.
Oh, don't worry about it.
So again, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here today in presence and in mind and in heart. My name is Kevin, and I'm so excited to be here with you to share what I've learned along my journey
There you go.
and about water.
Thank you.
So, it all begins with awareness. You know, we only know what we know when we know it. And everybody in this room, and when you're watching this recording, you're taking a moment to really dive a little bit deeper into your awareness. Because guys, awareness is where your transformation will begin. Again, my name's Kevin. If you have Instagram, I'm on @expansioncodes. And my real mission here is I help heart-centered beings cultivate new streams of abundance without losing spiritual alignment by expanding their water consciousness. And what is water consciousness? Well, that's a good question. That's just what I'm here to share. So like any other type of consciousness, spiritual, physical, it all begins with understanding and learning more and expanding upon education. So why the water? So water is the source of our lives, which is directly connected with our health. We are, in science, it says about 70 to 80% water. Spirituality is around 99% water. In the Bible, the most quoted word, the most utilized word is water. So when we start paying attention to the kind of water that we drink, we can actually have a greater influence on our health than any one thing. And when we think health, we really kind of only think of our bodies, right? And that's just the tip. That's just the beginning of the iceberg. What about our emotional health, our spiritual health? What about our financial health? And this is something that water is ready to be called into your life to help heal and to help expand. So again, science, this is what science tells us. Science tells us that we're anywhere from 60 to 80% water. Our brains are 83% water. Our eyes are literally water drops, 95%. Our heart vortex is 94% water of our blood. So what's in our blood is water. And And that really will come into play when we're talking about alkalinity and why that's so important.
Make it smaller.
So I want to just give a quick overview of some of the problems that we're facing right now as a society, as a culture, as humans. So in America right now, over 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. And that's chronically, guys. That's to a stage not including acute dehydration. And acute dehydration is, a little bit brain fog. Acute dehydration is when people are like, I'm really hungry and I don't know why. Because that's actually because you're dehydrated. Maybe you're a little tired. It's not that you're tired, it's that you're dehydrated. These are all acute dehydrations. So how many of us in this room, maybe they felt a little tired, and what do you guys do? We kind of go for that cup of coffee, that green tea, that caffeine. When all of the answer could have been is just a little hydration. What about inflammation, guys? Inflammation is such a vast issue with our health, with arthritis, and many people have this because our bodies are inflamed. There's too much fire in our lives. What about the produce that we're eating, we're giving to our families? There's so much pesticides on these produce, and that's including organic. Organic doesn't mean pesticide-free, it just means oil-based. And you guys know with oil and water, they don't mix. Well, that's kind of like running your produce under sink water. It doesn't pull off the pesticides. What about beauty products? What about all the chemicals that we're putting in our faces? Is it actually helping or healing our face, our skin? And our skin is our largest organ, right? When we start reframing our skin as a living, breathing organ, we start asking ourselves, well, what are we actually putting on and into our skin? And the majority of people are acidic, right? This means our bodies are in an acidosis state. And this is where our bodies become in dis-ease. And I'll talk more about that. What about low energy, stress, trouble sleeping, maybe some sickness? Who in the room has felt either low energy, some stress, trouble sleeping in the past week? You raise your hand? Yeah. How about somebody you know? Maybe low energy, they're stressed out all the time, trouble sleeping, sickness. 75% of the US people walking around, you're gonna have a new water lens when you walk around. So when you see people stressed out, low energy, and they're groggy, and they're moody, and they're kind of upset, guys, they're dehydrated. So it's not like, oh, you're a bad person. You're like, oh, you just need some good water. It's a real switch in mindset that you'll have. And it's a beautiful thing to share with people. And then we'll talk a little bit more about expenses too. And then those of us also who may be struggling with weight problems, right? Or exercise or keeping a consistent schedule, and how water can actually be a solution. So I really want to talk about right now is what is known as processed water. Again, this is what causes this vast amount of dehydration, is because this water that we consume unconsciously, it's all chemically operated upon. So our tap water, our bottled water, even reverse osmosis, it's all chemically operated upon. When we are talking about food, we're starting to see a major movement and picking up steam when people are going from processed foods, what we were sold for so long, to more natural, more living foods. We're starting to remove that process, those chemicals out of our foods. The next step, which is vastly more important than food, is water. Why? Again, guys, we are almost 60 to 80%, just depends on your age, percent of water by science. You know, we're not 60, 80% broccoli or, alfalfa sprouts. We are water. We're water beings. And so about 95% of the water that is in our supply, that is in our human supply system, is acidic. And when we consume things that are in an acidic state, it causes us to be in that acidosis, in a state where our bodies are dis-ease, not at ease. Anxiety, stress, trouble sleeping, these are all dis-ease problems. So, tap water, we'll talk more about it. Bottled water, we'll talk more about it. And reversible osmosis, of course, we're going to get into that. But I really wanted to frame processed water as really, really detrimental to our health. And this is just the science side of it, guys. I know we have such a beautiful spiritual community, and I would love to do another talk on the spiritual side of water one day. And I know Rachel would be such a resource to co-host that with me too. So let's take a look at what's in your water presently, everybody. This is for Newnan, Georgia. This is called the EWG, Environmental Working Group.org. And everybody, whatever I share here, I highly encourage you to fact check, to do your own research, to ask your own questions. When we start asking our own questions and start researching for ourselves, we take our power back. And by taking our power back, we start being able to educate ourselves and the ones that we love. So this is, for right now, 16 total contaminants. These are the ones that are exceeding health guidelines. As you can see these numbers illustrate that the chemicals that are in your water presently. This doesn't include all the pharmaceuticals that they mysteriously find their way into your water. I just want to take you on a quick journey of your water in your household. So some of you guys may say, I have a Brita or I have reverse osmosis. Well, that's great. Do you brush your teeth with that? And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but what I really want to take you down is the idea of how water circulates in our modern era. So every time, say, you flush the toilet or you brush your teeth, the water goes down the drain. The water goes to a source. A main source is transported through a bunch of tubes, piping, right angles, left angles, breaking apart the water, destroying it, adding all the chemicals along the way. Who knows who flushes what down the drain? That gets collected into the water. It goes to a central plant. A central plant adds all these chemicals in there to mitigate all the other things that are in there to make it safe for us. Do these numbers make you feel safe when it's 129 times the guidelines of something that causes cancer, 277 times, 302 potential effect, cancer, 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 cancer. We notice that there's a rise in cancer. What are all these cancer institutes that are popping up everywhere? That's really treating the effect and not the cause. This is a solution that we can start identifying the cause of it and not so much the effects of cancer. Okay, so about bottled water. We all know that bottled water isn't the best, but we all know it's also better than our tap, right? So 50 billion water bottles are produced every year. With a B, 50 billion. 80% of them end up in landfills. 10% end up in recycling centers. 10% end up in our environments. So ask yourself, where does 10% of that plastic end up? Rivers, streams, ends up in our ground, and plastic leaches. So it's not only the plastic water that the water takes in the leach chemicals that then you drink it, it's also it leaches into the soil. Not only poisons you, it poisons all the other beings on this planet that we're sharing it with. For a little bit deeper dive, if you guys choose to do the call, there's a few documentaries I suggest. One's called Tapped, and that's on Netflix. It's about a 12-year-old documentary, but it really still hits home. And it talks about not only the bottles, but also the lack of regulation, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. But what's more important too is the natural sources of you see those mineral spring waters, those really locally sourced waters. So what happens, companies like Nestle, Coca-Cola, these large corporations, they come in to these small towns, these small springs, they steal the water, they bottle the water, and then they sell the water without ever giving compensation to the local population. Because there's no laws for it, or the laws have been written in their favor. And since this is a spiritual group, we all know that everything's energy. So what we give our energy to, our money, is what we're voicing our opinion on. So every time we spend $1 or $2 on that bottle of water unconsciously, we're contributing to this $50 billion gorilla on this planet. So we all know it's bad. This is why we're all bringing these beautiful glass bottles. Those blue bottles are going to be spread across Newton, and I'm already seeing it. I love those. Yeah, Rachel has a beautiful bottle, and yeah, check out those. Those are such amazing bottles to take your water. Okay, so you say maybe to me, you're like, okay, Kev, you know, I know bottled water isn't the best, but it's still better than tap water, right? I agree. I agree that bottled water for drinking is best for outside of tap water, right? If you had to choose. But let me ask you, what about what you shower in? What you bathe in? When the last time you took a bath? You saw those contaminants? That's what you're bathing in. Our skin, again, our largest organ, on average, absorbs 1.5 liters of water every shower. 1.5 liters you're consuming into your skin. What about washing your hands? Doing your laundry? Rinsing your produce? What do we give our plants and our pets? Anyone here have pets that maybe had some sickness, some health issues? What if it's the water? What about what you brush your teeth with? How about you clean your counters with? So there's so much more to water than just consuming it, right? There's so many other opportunities on how water could really expand your lifestyle. And so my thing, I really want to just emphasize, guys, I'm not here to solve anybody's problems. I don't have a cure for anybody. I can't claim any of that. All I can share right now is solutions that I've done for my life, that I've helped so far over 52 families this year apply for theirs. I can also offer testimonials of my community, over 250 people. They've helped vast amounts. So if anyone's having trouble with diabetes, thyroid issues, skin problems, anything of these natures, cancer, there's somebody that we can connect you with that can share their experience. And let's get back into the science. So my question is, we talked about what's going on. Now let's talk about how. Right? How can we improve all areas of our health? How can we help the planet? How can we remove all these bottled water? How can we get rid of these plastics, these chemicals, these pesticides? The way we can remove this bottled water industry is by taking our power back. How can we save time? How can we save money? How can we save energy? How can we conserve things and repurpose it to something more positive? How can we enhance our wellness, vitality, and spirituality? And that is what we're going to be talking about. So, blue zones. Who here are familiar with blue zones? Can I get a show of hands? Beautiful, sweet. So, blue zones, there's a beautiful book that talks about what the longevity of the longest living populations in the world and what they have in common. And a lot of the food industry and marketing industry took that and ran with it with the Mediterranean diet. And that's great, right? Like, let's definitely decrease our consumption of meat. Let's focus more on vegetables and fruits, and a little bit more grains than starches, you know, better grains. So I'm all about that. But what they were missing out on was the fundamental thing that all of these blue zones have in common outside of certain diets, right? And it's water. So there's certain places on this planet that has living water, naturally occurring structured living water. that means is these are fountains of youth. There's 3 to 4 places, to both in Mexico, Lordsfrenz, and Norndau, Germany, and also Okinawa, Japan. These 4 locations have these living springs that people line up for miles to fill up containers. This water is from the ground. It is from Mother Gaia. It is naturally structured, and is what we're supposed to be consuming. How many of us here have access to Tecate, Mexico, Lordsfrenz, and Norndau, Germany every day? Not many of us. What's really interesting is that if you guys are familiar with Magic Johnson, he's an NBA basketball player who is, I don't know how to even say it, but HIV was transmitted to him, and he struggled with it. And what he did was he chartered planes back and forth from LA to Tecate, Mexico, to fill up on this living water. So, and over years of this healing, he reversed his transmission. So, if you guys have that opportunity to charter your planes and head down to one of these places, by all means, do it. But most of us, we don't have that opportunity. So, I can offer you guys a solution, this is why you're here today, of how to bring that structured, living water into your own households. And guys, that solution is Kangen Water. This water, outside those 3 places on the world, this is the world's best water. I say that unequivocally. I say that from my heart, because what I've seen and what I continue to see. Again, do your own research. There's going to be a lot of people who are competitors who will say, I don't know, maybe you should go for this, $1,000 machine because it's going to be, the same thing. No. These are medical grade devices, guys. Medical grade devices. These are over 6,500 hospitals across Asia. In Japan, 1 in every 5 households owns one of these machines. Anybody know anything about Japanese technology? It's a 45-year-old company based in Okinawa, Japan. And again, these are medical grade devices. Japan has one of the highest standards in the world to certify anything. And these have lifetime expectancies of around 30 to 35 years. A lot of the ones that are first produced are still rolling in Japan. So, Kangen Water, guys, that means return to origin in Japanese. Return to source. Return to that healing water. So now we're going to talk about what are the 3 scientific properties of this water that makes it so different. And Rachel's going to be helping me out with some of these. And we're going to first talk about absorption though. Before we do that, let's just have a sip of water. Let's just get it a little hydrated here. Yeah, if you need to stretch anything out, move your body a little bit, that's cool. Hey Rach, are you doing the tea bag also with absorption?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Got it?
Does she know where you're
Yeah guys, if you need to take a little stretch break, no problem. Grab some more water. Alright, then just give me a show of hands when everybody's back into where we go.
They're coming. They'll be here in a minute.
So I just kind of
Alright,
got,
are we all back?
We have 1 person in the restroom.
Yeah. Class can resume.
so Kev, what I did is just
We good,
got,
Rach?
can you hear me?
We cannot.
Oh.
Okay. So let's talk, guys, about absorption. right? So, who here has drank maybe a big glass of water or two, and they felt a little sloshy? Like, you know, that you sits on your stomach. Raise your hand if you felt this way before when you drank the water. So, the reason why, if you drink a lot of water, you feel a little like, ugh, is because the water, guys, is unstructured. 95% of the water, tap, bottled, reverse osmosis water, is all unstructured. What that means is the molecules are large. They're large clusters. So think of your cells in your body as chain link fences, the cell membrane around, right? Chain link fences. Majority of water, 95% of water, is they're like softballs and tennis balls. Try to throw them through the chain link fence, they're not gonna really penetrate your cells. And it's all about cellular hydration. That's real true healing, and that's real true health. The difference, structured water, like the water in the blue zones, or Kangen water, it offers full hydration. What happens is, when it goes through the 8 titanium plates, it electrifies the water and it shrinks the molecules. It micro clusters the water. So you're going from this to this. You're going from tennis balls to marbles. So this is why when somebody has 1 glass of Kangen water, they feel instantly hydrated. 1 glass of Kangen water is the same as the equivalent of hydration of 8 glasses. 8. What do we hear every day? Drink 8 glasses of water. Right? How many people actually do that? But if you're able to do that in 1 glass, have that same absorption rate. I'm going to share with you. Oh, Rachel, you got that? Okay. So Rachel, do you want to give that demonstration about beautiful absorption?
Okay, so
Or is it going to play the video and then you do it? What do you prefer?
You can't hear you.
Oh
You
yeah.
want to do it? Okay. I'm going to spotlight you.
Well,
And so what Rachel's going to describe, and I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let
just tell them I'll do this.
He's turning himself now.
How can we let
My
other
head was-
people in that came in late, participants?
They're not. Can you hear us now?
No, I still see.
Hey, it's on her phone, you have to unmute it.
Unmute your phone.
It's gonna have that vibrate, that reverb.
Wait, I got it. He'll reverb. Well, he's not on though, so.
Do I unmute?
Yeah, but your phone's sitting beside the source.
There you go.
Maybe bring the phone back here.
What does it say on Donna's phone?
No, you need to mute yourself on the phone, maybe.
That's the only place I've got sound. Come this way. And then look at it right there.
So,
We're gonna face it toward Rachel.
Yeah, face it towards Rachel. We're gonna pay attention to what she's doing here.
Just pouring water in a glass. Yeah, but why is it doing
Because you're so close to the volume of the TV. So see, if we turn the volume down on the TV,
that? Okay.
Go ahead.
Alright. So I'll just show you up here, and then he also has a video demonstration as well. So this one is tap water, and then this one is Kangen water. And so what he was saying is the structure of tap water has larger clusters, so it's hard to penetrate essentially into your cells. And with the Kangen water, it's smaller clusters, so it can penetrate and actually hydrate you on a cellular level. So the tap water, pouring this. And then you can already see how this is starting to change already, and this one still doesn't have any. So this is hydrating this tea on its cellular level, so that's why you can even, I've so many times just steeped my tea outside in the hot sun in a glass with the Kangen water. And it works really well, you know. And it's green tea, so, you know. Oh, look at that. Well, there's that. And it kind of gives you a visual of it or whatever. And then Kev, do you want to go ahead and play the video, and then we'll test these pHs after that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Tanya, you mute that, and I'll turn this back up.
Okay. That's this. Yeah, so beautiful, Rach. Yeah, I'm going to pop back the presentation here. We're gonna watch a couple videos. Share screen.
Is that loud enough for you?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
First time? First time.
Maybe the hands in the air if you can see the screen.
It's loud.
Woo! Okay.
It's really important for athletes. It's really important for dealing with brain fog. And of course, with the detoxification, it's really important for losing weight and for feeling better because toxins, let me get a little help there. Toxins sit in our cells and you can't get them out of your water. What did my skeptical husband say? He said, well, it's not fair that you guys was already wet, right? Isn't that cool? That's showing you the superior hydration, better detoxification of your cells. But just so you know, that we weren't, cheating, and it wasn't because the tea bag was already wet. Go back to the study. You know how when you feel really bloated or your stomach feels really full and slushy with bottled water or tap water, you're drinking a lot of water? It's because it's sitting in your stomach and not actually absorbing into the intestines. To give you a little dose of science, the Kangen water, between the good alkaline minerals and the antioxidant, if you open your caloric valve, it goes straight to the intestines.
That was quick. Yes. So, headphones in. So that brings up a couple of good points. One, that most people who go on diets, the first thing that they do is lose a couple pounds really quickly. And guys, that's all water weight. It's all, we call that water babies, right? We carry it around our waistline. So what happens when we start drinking this water, you start actually clearing out that water baby. You start releasing weight from that waistline. And why? It's, again, because it hits on a cellular level, whereas the regular water is large clusters and it can't penetrate your cells. So, we're talking about absorption. Let's talk about antioxidants. We all know that antioxidants are a good thing, right? Yes. So oxidation is rusty. So anything that has that oxidation property, it ages us and makes us feel pretty gross. So what we want to do is we want to flood ourselves with antioxidants. It battles free radicals. Free radicals are the things that cause disease. Those are the things that cause cancer. So what's so important about antioxidants and Kangen water? Well, it's the equivalent, one glass of Kangen water is the equivalent antioxidants as eating 5 pounds of blueberries, eating 12 pounds of broccoli, or having 20 glasses of green tea. That is how much antioxidants are in each glass of water. Because it's all about molecular hydrogen. That's what this water can do for you. It's the strongest antioxidants. It battles the free radicals. Next up is we're talking about alkalinity. Right? We all know that there's this thing called alkaline foods, alkaline water.
Hello.
So remember we showed you that share about our blood's 94% homeostasis in our body. Our blood is at 7.4 pH. However, the vast majority of people are in an acidic state,
Walk the sidewalk down.
which just means that their body alkalinity, their body
Kevin froze.
Kevin froze. I wonder if Kevin's having internet issues.
Was he coming here or are they going?
They may have been coming.
They may have been coming here.
Because they left.
Well,
Could you
just
sit on the way?
ask.
Could you sit on the next door? Should
Should
we
go
ask?
after them.
I'll hunt them down.
If they just went right, if they were looking for the house of light, they're in the right place.
That's on him. His internet is frozen.